Hi, I'm Jimmy John. I have had the greatest privilege to view through my camera and capture the greatest moment of these well-talented film artists and amazing film directors throughout my career as a cameraman. So I have taken some headshots and reactions from my collections to add to my portfolio. So enjoy yourself.
And the fashion, I said this last night, the fashion in Bollywood for the young guys, if you want to be a young actor breaking into the system, is to get in the gym 6 hours a day. And they get that look, you know, where there's so much muscle here, they can't lower their arms anymore. And they walk around, you know that look, we all know that look like that. And I didn't want anybody like that, because he's an underdog and you just want him to feel...
Vikas's book is basically a set of short stories, really, 12 short stories, some of which are linked, some of which aren't. Some are just discrete little stories on their own. It's very difficult to turn that into a film, because for me it's like eating too many puddings in a row. Each little discrete story on its own is very rich.
I remember going to India when I was like 7 years old for a family wedding, which was in Gujarat, which is it's a totally different ball game to Mumbai itself. And I remember not enjoying it, to be honest. I got bitten to death by mosquitoes, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. But growing up and going there with such a passionate crew, and I went on like location scouts and things like that, and got to see the most amazing things. It's so hard not to fall in love with it.
Actually, first of all, Queen in the center of it, wow. So, yeah, I think it's really important in a way. And yeah, it's all Simon Beaufoy, completely. The way he scripted the entire thing, so.
The scariest horror movie I've seen? I don't watch a lot of horror movies because I'm a big fraidy cat and I'm afraid of the dark. So they don't mix well with my lifestyle. But the last one I really sat through and watched, and it's so obvious, it's like saying that you like Led Zeppelin, but it was The Exorcist.
Jerry Sisto, and I saw that when I was like, I don't know, in 6th grade, and I couldn't sleep the entire summer. It actually still affects me. It really screwed me up. It's just, you know, I've been sensitive to that kind of stuff. So.
Usually, when Karan and I first started talking about this, we both agreed that we wanted it to have a very warm kind of vintage feel, you know, like Carrie, the Argento films. We wanted it to have kind of a warmth that you don't see in a lot of modern horror movies.
Together some stills from a bunch of Argento movies just because he has this obsession with beautiful women. And I think there's a way that Amanda and Megan are beautiful in the movie that the camera can kind of sort of worship and be frightened by their beauty. And so
Midnight Madnesses, we actually briefly met in 2006 when we had the world premiere of Dario Argento's Mother of Tears.
Yeah.
And Diablo literally arrived, dropped her bags, and raced to the wires to see the new Dario Argento.
Not one in particular, but I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd like it to be the closest to maybe Brandon Flowers, but really take your pick.
You know,
well, I didn't really want to tell you the true story because it was Ewan and I got in a fight, and I hurt my hand punching him in the face.
You know, I never felt like we were taking on the military or that we were making any, you know, I just never felt that way. I felt like we were making a film that was investigating some stuff that happened, and this is only one part of the film.
What I like about the movie, though, is the fact that, I don't think the movie necessarily believes that it's possible to kill goats just by staring at them or walk through walls, but it's a really warm-spirited film, and it doesn't mind really liking those people.
Means not normal. I'm pretty sure we're all paranormal. You know, I mean, I think what's really going on is much farther out than what we believe is going on. I'm kind of certain of that. That's my position.
3 times this is my 4th journalist.
You're typecast.
Yeah. I played more journalist than any other kind of person. Because I'm so fond of you all. And I want to play you more and more. That's why. No, it's good. It's a good, it's a very good, it's a very clever way of finding out the stories, isn't it? Journalists ask questions, they get answers, and we flash to the answers. So it's good. And I liked him because he was quite happy with his lot. He was writing crappy wee stories for his paper, and he was quite a happy soul.
I mean, the character Bob's sort of loosely based on John's persona in the book. But once we knew we were going to set the story in America, it kind of seemed like it would just be illogical to have the journalist British and then explain what he was doing in America in the first place. It was easier just to make him American. And obviously, at the stage of writing, you've no idea what the casting is going to be anyway, so it could just as easily be cast as an American actor.
I don't think, in terms of the competition, I'm here to win, all right? No, I don't think about that at all, and I've never think of myself as in competition with other, actors or directors or, filmmakers, We got to make the exact movie that we wanted to make, and we really like it. And
Steven never repeats himself. So constantly, we're getting the opportunity to work on different kinds of movies, which is great. Dramas, comedies, action, big, small. So it's really fun because it's every job is new and interesting challenge, and he never repeats himself.
Probably 20 films. This is the first film that I've worked on with Steven as a director. I worked with him on several films as a co-producer, and I ran the company Section 8 along with my colleague Ben Cosgrove. And it was great to get to be there in a way that was very different than our experience when we're working to support another director.
He wants to be there working hard, get the work, and not beat it to death. He's interested in fresh. He's interested in really almost rehearsal kind of takes that we're shooting, and not, he knows what he wants, which is also unusual. Most directors these days just shoot everything and kind of figure it out later.
Here's what I need from you. I'm this director, and this is my movie, and you have so much creative freedom with it, and it's just so nice to feel like whatever you bring to it is going to be enough, and it's going to be received well, and just to be working so quickly and feeling so inspired and happy, yeah.
And even if there are sort of flaws in it, or the cadence is not ideal, or it's not the way they want it, I'm looking for that. That's a matter of taste, though. There are other directors who are able to get to that same place by going totally in the opposite direction, by doing lots and lots and lots of takes until they've reached a place where the actor is sort of dropped. In part because Mark Whitaker doesn't have a great self-editing function, and so you would think when someone was embezzling at the level he was and talking to a New York Times reporter, they might not disclose things that he chose to disclose. And so in the book, one of the things that's pretty striking is that Whitaker had amassed this huge fleet of, Range Rovers.
It's just come magically. I think they come through sheer will and heart and determination, and that every person I know that's an individual that I look up to is a human being. So therefore, we're all capable of accomplishing that for ourselves. And I think that life is about love and laughter and your friends, and hopefully trying to gain acceptance and support from your family along.
Well, we went through 3 weeks. Well, I did personally go through 3 weeks of skate camp. That was grueling, but it was amazing at the same time. And I think it actually, like Drew was saying, I mean, the spirit of the movie is be your own hero. And I think you see a lot in Ellen's character that, she has to overcome this fear of learning this game. It was the same exact way for me.
Rather than the other way around. And so she described it really eloquently the other day at the premiere, like, looking through several people. And I ended up being, I guess, the needle in some sort of haystack. And I auditioned while I was in the middle of making my second album. And then I, got to meet Ellen, and everything just kind of went from there.
Well, I think the character Razor came from Shauna, the screenwriter. It was in the script. He was written that way, and it was a really fun character to play. And Drew obviously had a tremendous amount of input on the kind of person that she wanted me to be in the movie, right. And it was a total blast playing the guy.
A lot of pressure. I was like, oh great, let's hope this works out, and it did. She's one of the coolest girls I know. So the only I didn't have to train. I just had to make Ellen Page like me. So.
The entirety of learning how to do this. I mean, I was really lucky because before, I'd finished kind of the doing, all the press for Juno and leading up to the Oscars and everything, and I was in Nova Scotia, and I was like, why don't I just go to LA and start training? And it was really lovely. Production, put me up in LA and spoiled me, and I just trained.
A backdrop, but it was to when you write and directing something, you make those choices. So we had to think long and hard about what would be made. And a case in point is because fiction doesn't exist, the films of the day are readers literally reading fact.
Curveball to throw him would be how he would deal with death. And then the wildfire that would inspire by what he tells his mother. And so we never set out to tackle those things. We just wanted to naturally track what a loser in that world would do with given the gift of lying. And
Ben Affleck. I just want to say categorically, Ben and I are not secretly married.
Is that what we're going with now?
Yeah,
because I thought that, okay, all right. Are you coming back to Boston with me or not?
Yes.
I would like to say that the rumor that Ben Affleck and I are married is also false. Ricky?
So I think that it's the fluid that producers tragically function on. It's their gasoline. Did I read the script? Yes, it was fabulous, Did you like my audition? I loved it,
Any of us can choose at any time to be civil or to not be civil, and what is the point of going through the day and thinking that it's cool to wear your honesty on your sleeve at the expense of everyone around you?
Very kind of unsettled because he wasn't certain that he would be allowed to have the 3 minutes of iguana time that he needed in the movie, and that if he couldn't have the 3 minutes, that he may not ever want to make another movie again. And this was very serious and important that he must have the 3 minutes of iguana time. It's the most important thing in the movie, and therefore he may have to cut certain scenes that I'm in. And I said, all right, Werner, well, okay, good night. And then I went home and I slept on it. And I thought, well, that really would be a shame if Werner didn't make another movie because he didn't get all the iguana time he needed. So I called...
As banal as that, but I immediately jumped at the opportunity and I said, this is a wonderful idea. That's what is a fertile ground for a film like that. That's where the bliss of evil has to occur.
Kimball Ravenswood, and I read this concept of how Yogesh Patel meets 12 girls, and he has to decide whom he's going to marry from these 12 girls in 10 days.
They're 12, and there's such subtle differences that you can give each one of them, from their walk to probably the way they talk. We use a lot of voice modulation, but yet you can't make it so different that it sounds fake. So we had a lot of parameters to work within, which made it hugely challenging. But
I have to get married in 10 days. And typically you have a matrimonial ad to which you revert. So I narrowed down to meeting a girl from each Rashi, each zodiac sign, to give myself 12 different options, each zodiac sign being different from the other. So I'm presuming it does, but maybe not in such a tight time span.
I've done 40 odd films as an actor, and every script that's offered to me is not a script that I want to direct or I should be directing. So that's a non-issue.